Everyone told veteran Jack Turner he was crazy. Why waste your last dollar on that collapsing house in the middle of nowhere? But Jack had nothing left. No family, no savings, no future. Just his loyal K9, Hunter, and a desperate need for a fresh start. The real estate listing said the place was abandoned for decades. But the moment Jack stepped onto the overgrown porch, Hunter froze. His ears shot up. His body stiffened. He growled at the front door. Deep. Warning. Certain. Jack thought the house was empty. He was wrong, because inside, the dust wasn't settled. Something, or someone, had been inside recently. Footprints, small, barefoot, crossed the hallway as if someone had walked through minutes earlier. A locked door rattled from the inside, and a cold draft swept past Jack's shoulder. Even though every window was shut, and when Hunter pushed the door open with his paw, Jack realized the rumors were wrong. Jack followed them into a hallway where a boarded door seemed to vibrate, as if someone had touched it moments before. And when Hunter uncovered what was hidden behind that wall, Jack realized he hadn't bought a house. He had bought a secret someone was willing to kill to protect. The house wasn't abandoned. It was hiding something that would expose a buried past, reveal a stunning truth, and change Jack's life forever. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. Jack Turner stood in front of the collapsing house with nothing but a worn backpack, a crumpled deed, and the one companion who never abandoned him, his retired K9 partner, Hunter. The wind rustled through the overgrown yard, whispering through broken windows and vines that strangled the walls like nature itself was trying to keep the house from being touched. "This is it, buddy," Jack muttered, rubbing Hunter's neck. "Our last shot." After losing his savings, his home, and the life he once knew in the Marines, Jack bought the abandoned property for a single dollar, his last dollar. It sounded insane. Everyone said it was a waste, a mistake, a curse. But standing here now, Jack didn't have the luxury of doubting himself. Hunter stepped forward and stopped abruptly. The German shepherd stiffened. His ears shot up. His tail lowered. A deep, rumbling growl rolled from his chest. Jack frowned. "Easy, boy. It's just an old house." But Hunter didn't move. He stared at the front door as if something stood behind it, watching them, waiting. Jack swallowed hard. He took one step onto the creaking porch. The wood groaned beneath him. A cold shiver crawled up his spine, not from the wind, from the feeling that the house wasn't abandoned at all, and Hunter could sense it long before he did. The first night in the house felt colder than any winter Jack had slept through during deployment. He set his sleeping bag in the living room, one of the few places with a floor sturdy enough to hold weight. Hunter lay beside him, ears twitching at every creak. Jack stared at the ceiling. "Just wind," he whispered, but the house answered differently. The soft thud came from upstairs. Hunter lifted his head instantly, eyes locked on the shadowed staircase. Jack held his breath. Another thud followed, then a slow, dragging sound across the floorboards above them. Not fast, not frantic, deliberate. Hunter rose, muscles tense, and walked toward the staircase with controlled steps. No barking, no panic. Just the instinct of a trained soldier sensing a threat. Jack grabbed his flashlight and followed. Dust coated the banister, but something made him stop halfway up. Footprints, small ones, bare, pressed into the dust as if someone had walked there only hours before. They disappeared into a hallway that had been sealed by rotting boards that a sudden cold breeze brushed past Jack's shoulder. But the windows were intact. Hunter growled at the boarded door, first standing rigid along his spine. Jack stepped closer and saw it. One loose board, slightly shifted, as if someone inside had pushed it. Recently, the house wasn't reacting to him. It was reacting to whoever was still in it. Jack's pulse hammered as he knelt beside the boarded door. Hunter pressed against his leg, muscles tight, tail stiff, a silent warning. Jack tugged at the loose board. It snapped away with barely any resistance. As if someone had already pulled at it from the other side, he removed another plank. Then another. Dust filled the air. Behind the final board wasn't the forgotten storage closet he expected, but a perfectly preserved child's bedroom. Jack froze. The air inside was unsettlingly warm, untouched by time. A small wooden bed sat neatly made. Toys were arranged on shelves with unnatural precision. The wallpaper, once cheerful, had faded to a sickly yellow. But the strangest part, there was no dust at all. Someone had been cleaning this room recently. Hunter sniffed the air, then suddenly moved to the corner, pawing at an uneven patch of floor. Jack crouched, brushing aside a small rug. Beneath it was a metal ring bolted into a wooden hatched out of crawl space. Jack's eyes narrowed. "You knew this was here, didn't you?" he whispered to Hunter. Hunter growled softly, confirming it. Jack gripped the ring and pulled open the hatch. Cold air rushed up from the darkness below. A secret room beneath a secret room. Whoever had lived here had been hiding something for a very long time. The air rising from the crawl space was unnaturally cold, as if the darkness below had been sealed for years, maybe decades. Jack lowered his flashlight. The beam revealed a narrow tunnel carved beneath the house, its dirt walls supported by old wooden beams that creaked under the slightest touch. Hunter descended first, nose twitching, tail rigid. Jack followed on hands and knees, each movement stirring old dust into swirling ghosts around them. A few feet in, the tunnel widened into a small underground chamber. Jack froze. Photographs covered one wall, faded pictures of a smiling boy, maybe 8 or 9, standing in front of the very house above them. Next to the photos were yellowed newspaper clippings. Local child missing. Search continues. Family home abandoned after tragedy. Hunter padded toward a corner, where a loose plank lay beneath a thin layer of dirt. He began scratching, determined. Jack helped, pulling away debris until his fingers hit something solid. A metal box, sealed with wax. Jack pried it open. Inside were letters, official reports, and a small bracelet with the boy's initials engraved. The same boy from the photos. Jack felt a chill deeper than the cold underground air. The missing child hadn't vanished. He had never left the property, and someone had hidden the truth right beneath the floorboards. Jack climbed out of the crawl space with the metal box in hand, his mind racing. The documents weren't just history, they were clues. And Hunter knew it too. The dog trotted to the back door, barking once, sharply, urging Jack to follow. "Show me." "Boy," Jack whispered. Hunter led him behind the house, through tangled weeds and collapsed fences, to an overgrown patch of ground. Beneath a cluster of dead branches sat a rusted metal hatch, almost invisible under years of neglect. Hunter scratched at it fiercely. Jack knelt, brushed the debris aside, and pulled the hatch open. Cold, stale air rushed out, carrying the faint scent of fear and dust. A narrow stairway led into darkness. Jack descended carefully, flashlight trembling in his hand. At the bottom, he stopped cold. A man, thin, pale, hair long and unkempt, sat curled in the corner of a small storm bunker. His eyes widened at the light, terrified and fragile like someone who hadn't seen another human in years. "It's okay," Jack said softly, lowering himself to a knee. "I'm not here to hurt you." The man shook his head slowly. His voice cracked as he whispered, "They came back, but I never left. I stayed hidden, all these years, because they wanted me gone." Jack's heart tightened. This wasn't a ghost story. This was a survivor, finally found. Jack slowly guided the trembling man up the stairs and into the daylight. Hunter walked beside them, nudging him gently, sensing every flicker of fear. The man squinted at the abandoned house as if it were both a nightmare and a memory frozen in time. Inside the cabin, Jack wrapped a blanket around him and offered water. The man, his voice faint, revealed the truth. 30 years ago, dangerous men came after his family over a property dispute tied to hidden land deeds worth millions. When his parents vanished, he hid in the bunker, terrified they'd return. They never stopped searching, and you survived here. Alone, Jack whispered. The man nodded. "I waited for someone I could trust." Jack contacted authorities with the documents, letters, and old reports. Hours later, agents and officers swarmed the property. After reviewing the evidence, their expressions hardened. "This exposes everything," one agent said. "The land, the forged records. The men who chased him, they're still alive." Arrests were made across the county. The truth finally surfaced. Weeks later, the state awarded the survivor full ownership of the land, worth over $14 million. But he insisted Jack and Hunter take the majority. "You didn't just find me," he said softly. "You saved my life." Jack rebuilt the house, turning it from a decaying shell into a real home. As the sun set behind the hills, Hunter lay at Jack's feet, tail thumping. Sometimes you don't gamble and lose. Sometimes you gamble and find the family you never knew you needed.